Jonathan and Primero into the wall, then just about avoids it. Is history going to repeat itself? Yes, it is. Off the track, into the wall they go. They go down like Skittles. Formula Dani is the winner of the first ever Squad Sprint Series. He is the champion. Hello everyone and welcome along to the penultimate round of the Veloce Esports Squad Sprint. We've arrived at the Hungary and this is a tight, twisty circuit. It's like Monaco without the barriers and there's a chance the championship could be decided today. I'm Ginger Addy and joining me in the commentary box for this one is Justin Sutton.
Thanks very much. Happy to be back. Thrilled to be here for this penultimate round. Again, potential championship decider as well. It is going to be at the home circuit of Dani Hyperz, the Season 1 champion, and he could win the championship here today. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it sure is. As you say, home circuit. Can he go back to back and win it on home soil and please the Hungarian crowd? We'll have to wait and see. Well, Azerbaijan last night was extremely eventful. Let's take a look at the starting grid for this race. It is Ryan Littlemore starting on pole with Thibaut Courtois alongside him on the front row. In third place, it is Niren with Isaac Gillison in P4. Fifth on the grid, it is Arif. He's got Eterno Joe Wilkes in sixth.
On the fourth row of the grid, it is Karki alongside Hayden Gullis, who is in 8th position. On the fifth row, it is Raggy alongside Storm, who starts just inside the top 10. Then it's Alex Gillen starting alongside Tom97.
On row 7, it's TMX Marduk starting 13th with Simon Weigang in 14th. 15th in the grid, it's the world's fastest gamer, Veloce James. Hyper starts from P16 and the championship leader bidding to go back-to-back. It's Dani Hyperz starting from the back on home soil here at the tight, twisty Hungary racetrack. Well, what a setting this is. What an opportunity for Formula Dani. Justin, we've seen him make so many good starts this season. Can he make another on the tight, twisty circuit here in the Hungary?
I mean, you'd have to be crazy to bet against him. Dani has been a force to be reckoned with throughout all of Squad Sprint's history. Maybe a little bit less so in Season 2. He's got Hyperz right there with him, but the Toro Rosso driver who we're on board with needs to win today.
I'm 30 points behind. If I don't beat Dani today, he secures the championship. But he's too consistent to do that, so I just hope his wheel dies like it did in Brazil.
Well, if you remember back in Brazil, all the way back at the start of the season, that is where Dani got no points when his wheel died. But we'll find out as the 5 lights come on who will win today. Can he seal the title? Daniel Hyperz? We'll find out as the 5 lights go out. Ryan Littlemore leads away from pole position. It looks like a pretty good start. It's a fantastic start, streaking away from the Real Madrid goalkeeper as he now has to switch his attentions to Niren and Arava into that first corner. Veloce Isaac up the inside as well as they all funnel their way through that first turn and sweeping down through turn 2 and into turn 3. It's Ryan from Courtois, 3 wide in the middle of the track. We've got Niren, Arava and Veloce Isaac in there as we go on board in the cockpit camera with Raggy as he swoops down the hill and settles in to 6th place as we pick up Alex Gillen up to 8th place, Justin.
And he's behind Dani Hyperz, who is now going to take 6th place. Oh, he makes contact with the Mercedes. Arif is off the circuit trying to rejoin safely. Comes alongside Alex Gillen, who is going to move up a couple of positions as a result of those incidents. And Dani Hyperz already into 5th position. We're not even done with the first lap. We see a bit of an incident there between the Haas and the Racing Point. That's James Baldwin and Eterno Joe coming together at that very tight chicane. Very difficult to go side by side through that area, but they're doing their absolute best. This is for just inside the top 10, the final points paying position, in fact, on this opening lap. But we're back on board with Dani Hyperz. Look at this, already making a move now for 4th position on Isaac. I think he's going to be just outside a podium position before we even finish the first lap.
And here he comes straight into the pits. Astounding start from Dani Hyperz. He comes straight into the pits and he will try and make that work by getting into that clean air as we pick up Alex Gillen then in 5th position, attacking Veloce Isaac down into turn 1. He's going to be very late on the brake pedal and he gets it to the apex and gets it slowed down. Unfortunately, Isaac though is going to sweep back round the outside and say, oh no you don't. Isaac then 4th position, and now look at Alex Gillen still trying to go right round the outside. He will have the inside for the next corner, but unfortunately Isaac is more than a car length ahead and he settles back in 4th. Great racing there. Isaac 4th, Alex Gillen 5th, and this man, TMX Marduk, running in 6th. Look at Alex Gillen trying up the inside of Isaac. Oh, that was so close, and there's almost contact there. There is contact behind though. Arava is round. Tom is involved as well. A Red Bull there in this shot runs across the runoff area, and we've lost Eternal from this race, presumably colliding with someone involved in that incident. Was it Arava? Was it Tom? We wait to find out in the replay, but we have got a safety car deployed after just 2 laps here, Justin Sutton.
Yep, that is definitely going to be beneficial to those who are running on the soft tires, which is the majority. You can see on the left-hand side of your screens, Thibaut Courtois, James Baldwin, and Simon Weigang, the only ones that started on the medium compound tires. And then you can see Dani Hyperz down in 14th position, Hyperz down in 16th position, both of those opting to go onto the medium compound tires at the end of the first lap. Looks like Alex Gillen has lost connection and rejoined, but it's good to see that he is back in the race. Ryan L83 making his way down pit road, looking like he's going to get rid of his soft compound tires and fit a set of mediums, which is, I would say that's probably the right call. We've only done a couple of laps, but we're going to do another lap behind the safety car that's going to allow those tires just to last a little bit longer. And you can see it is a very busy old pit lane. Lots of people taking this safety car opportunity to come into the pits, and I have to say, Andy, I agree with this decision.
Yeah, I think everyone has got to come into the pits. The question, though, is with Dani pitting that little bit earlier, is he going to gain or lose places as a result? You think maybe lose, but it looks like he's come out in 4th position, which is pretty much... Is that going to be P2? Because Alex Gillen and Raggy haven't stopped yet? I think it is. So that's worked out brilliantly for Dani Hyperz, and he is well on course for wrapping up the title. Things going to plan so far. You know, there's been a lot of talk behind the scenes at Veloce about how they're going to nerf the esports drivers for the new season, perhaps forcing them to pit later. We'll have to wait and see, but, you know, if Dani keeps starting brilliantly like that, it makes it very difficult. Let's have a look then at the replay of what kicked off this safety car. Alex Gillen getting into the side of Isaac. Did that concertina things up behind, perhaps? Not too sure. Now we'll get a better idea. Well, you're on board with Arava. He sees the incident in front. Oh, he's on the curb. He gets on the curb. Tom hits him. And then there's the Eternal. And there's Hayden Gullis, who nearly gets collected. Wow, that was unbelievable. Let's have a look from Tom then. Does this give us any clues to Eternal? Eternal, wow, there's the contact. And still nothing for Eternal. Let's see then. Hayden Gullis, will this give us an idea? Oh, he's going for he's playing Dirt Rally, I think. And there's the Eternal up in front, hitting Tom. So that's what happened there, Justin.
Oh, huge contact for Joe, making contact with the rear right-hand side of that Mercedes of Tom 97, and that is going to be the end of Eterno's race. So only one race to go for the other racing point of Joe. Hayden Gullis still holding on to a top 10 position, having made his stop, but again, a couple of people still have not stopped. Those two, Raggy and Alex Gillen, both coming into the pits as they start the 4th lap of the race. So they're just coming into the pits now, and they're going to fit a set of medium compound tires. So they are going to have slightly fresher tires than everyone else, but they're going to be so much further behind. They're going to be behind so many other people that they're going to have to make up a lot of positions in this race. There is still a lot of racing to go. If the safety car's in this lap, that means we'll have 14 laps of hopefully green flag racing, but we will find out very shortly, as it seems everybody has been into the pits now, aside from maybe Thibaut Courtois. No, he's been into the pits as well, I believe.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting to see that, Raggy left it as late as he did to come into the pits. So it's a very strange one. So he and Alex Gillen leaving it extremely late because the safety car came out during the middle of the lap, so they had the opportunity to come in earlier, perhaps because they never had anyone in front of them, to follow into the pits, or, they were the ones near the front. So it's an interesting decision from them to do that. They've lost track position, they've gone onto the medium tyres, but so many cars have gone onto the hards. Courtois, Tiamat Marek, Niren as well, James Baldwin, Simon, Arava, Storm and Isaac really on the hard tyres. Only a few drivers, a handful, going on the medium. So lap 4 out of 18 under this safety car. It's Ryan Littlemore in the lead and Dani Hyperz right in position where he needs to be to make it back-to-back squad sprint titles, and fittingly for him on his home circuit. Surely the safety car will be in at the end of this lap, Justin. I would think so. Anyway. Yes,
yeah, it certainly would. Yep, and there it is. Yeah, there's the confirmation safety car in this lap. By the way, really gutted for Tom 97. He's been driver of the day, or contender for driver of the day, for a number of races in a row. He's been on a real run of form in recent squad sprint races, but unfortunately for him, getting caught up in that incident at turn 5 earlier on has dropped him all the way down into 16th position. He is actually, we've heard from him, he is on a quest to try and catch Tiamat Marduk. The gap between them is 19 points. So, unfortunately for him, this is definitely going to make things harder.
It sure is then, as we get back underway and racing again. Ryan Littlemore immediately defending to the pit wall. No wonder he's got an Esports driver behind him, hungry to make it back-to-back squad sprint championships. And here he goes, Dani Hyperz in front of his home crowd, sweeping round the outside, and he's made it work. He's left Ryan Littlemore standing still, and Formula Dani takes the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and he needs to be there to go on to seal the squad sprint crown. Meanwhile, behind that, we've got Team Marduk making light work of the Real Madrid goalkeeper, and Niren is in there as well. In fact, no, I got that wrong. It's Courtois ahead of Team Marduk, then Niren, then James Baldwin. Sorry.
Impressive stuff. Oh, where is Niren going? He's just completely lost the plot in the middle of turn 5 there. That's going to give James Baldwin the run that he needs to grab the inside line into that chicane at turn 6, and that's going to put Hayden Gullis straight onto the back of Niren as well as they make their way through the right-hander of turn 9. The McLaren running a little bit wide now through the high-speed left-hander, and then lifting off the throttle ever so slightly. A little bit of braking, in fact, for Hayden Gullis as Niren goes a little bit wide at the exit of the corner. That could be the opportunity that Hayden needs to go around the outside at turn 12, but no, Niren covers him off, doing a good job defending so far, and that's Hyperz who's just managed to sneak by Hayden Gullis. Here comes the Renault of CRG Simon as well, Vigang around the outside of the penultimate corner. Looks like he's just about going to manage to pull off that one on Hayden Gullis, who's now down into 9th position with Storm right behind him. He really needs to be careful here, otherwise Hayden could end up falling outside of the points-paying positions. Here we go, Niren with Hyperz alongside him, inside line for the Toro Rosso. Should be an easy move for the Esports driver hopeful.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting to see Hyperz cutting his way through the field there. He knows he needs to win this race to keep it going to the final Grand Prix, and that is because Dani is leading. The only way he can stop him is to get to the front, and that looks like a tall order as things stand at 1/3 race distance as they swoop up the hill through the high-speed left-hander, and it's Daniel Beresney still leading as we look at CRG Simon on those hard compound tires, getting up behind Niren, and Niren's a little bit wide, he's a little bit out of shape, side by side into that chicane. It's going to be tight, there's contact between them, they both trip across the chicane, all three of them trip across the chicane, with Hayden Gullis following their route ahead. So Niren remains in 7th, Simon in 8th. That was very tight through that section of track as James Baldwin goes very wide and now has a great run up the inside. He will dive through on Tiamat Marduk and takes 3rd place. He's gone too hot into the corner though, and Ben squeezes back alongside. James now into the left-hander, comes straight back alongside. Great racing between the pair, but the world's fastest gamer is through and ahead of the Ferrari of Tiamat Marduk, and there's quite a queue forming there of 4 drivers, and it's great to see the Real Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois in the thick of it.
Fantastic to see, and I do wonder if James is going to come under threat for that 2nd place position. Tiamat Marduk has been pretty racy all throughout this 2nd season of Squad Sprint. He'll pick up the DRS and the slipstream off of the Haas on the run down towards turn 2, but a great exit for James Baldwin actually through turn 1 is going to give him the speed that he needs in order to defend that position. For the meantime, back on board with Tom97, who has managed to claw back a number of positions, already back into the points. He's got Hayden Gullis just up the road, and I imagine he's going to be feeling pretty confident about his chances to possibly take a couple of positions at least from some of these cars up the road here as he makes his way through the high-speed turn 4 through turn 5. Will we see Tom going on the attack on Hayden Gullis? We've seen several side-by-side moments into this chicane at turn 6, which is pretty surprising, to be totally honest. And you can see people getting very, very liberal with the track limits through that chicane. Again, it's very difficult to go side-by-side. Some might say it's actually impossible, and the track limits that we're seeing might actually support that potentially. Oh, getting very aggressive is Hayden Gullis. He's going off the circuit to try and carry as much speed as he possibly can, try to get a run on Niren. Unfortunately, though, he's going to lose out to Tom97, and it looks like Storm as well is going to try it around the outside into the penultimate corner. Meanwhile, the other Mercedes of Raggy is right behind this. He's going to be looking to try and take a position off of Hayden Gullis as well if he can, and unfortunately for Hayden, he's just getting absolutely hung out to dry. He's now down into 11th position. He's got the Mercedes right behind him. Raggy's going to be looking to the left-hand side as they accelerate down towards the braking zone at turn 1. They're going to be 3 wide, actually. Hayden Gullis in the middle, brakes very, very late, outbrakes himself, and surely that's going to be a free position for Raggy. It is indeed. He's up into 11th. Storm right onto the back of the McLaren now.
Yeah, well, 3 position for and 3 positions lost as well for Hayden Gullis. He went gung-ho on Niren, it didn't work out, and he's been punished. He's lost 3 places at about 3 corners, and now he has got Isaac on his tail as we pick up Niren. in the battle, and now we go on board with Raggy in 11th. So the battle forming once again on the fringes of the points. So often we've seen this in Squad Sprint. Raggy right up behind the back of Niren, having a look at the inside there. Oh, did Niren clip Storm there? He might have. And now Raggy's been squeezed out, and Hayden Gullis and Veloce Isaac say thank you very much. They dive through, and Hayden Gullis grabs the final points paying position with both hands, having lost it a few moments ago. Anyway, back up towards the sharp end of the action. We're 8 laps into this, and Ryan Littlemore still runs as high as second. A fine performance from him so far, but I think he's about to get swallowed up, not only by his teammate, but by the world's fastest gamer as well, who will be first though to get through, because look at Hyperz, he's right in the slipstream behind James. James dives up the inside of Ryan. Will Hyperz follow through? Yes, he will, and through goes James up into second, Hyperz up into third. The Esports drivers making light work there of Ryan Littlemore. Justin, tidy stuff, textbook stuff, as we now look at Raggy down the inside of Niren, and he makes that work. Will he get it stopped? Just about. And he gets it turned in, and he runs in P12 now. Great action throughout the field.
This is fantastic stuff, I have to say. Raggy really going aggressive here. Love to see it. Nicely through turn 2, actually. He's not going to be close enough to mount any attacks on Isaac anytime soon, but he's setting himself up nicely to possibly get back into a points-paying position. Oh, yes! Those are the track limits that we're talking about. And Tiamat Marduk gets a bit crazy. He saw the cars ahead cutting that corner a little bit. He says, nah, I'll show you how to cut a corner. He gets a 3-second time penalty for his troubles. That is, at the moment, going to drop him outside of the top 5. That would drop him behind Thibaut Courtois. However, we are only at the halfway point of this race. Still have 9 laps to go, so potentially he could build that up to over 3 seconds down to the Renault of Courtois, who went in for the hard compound tires, having started on the mediums at the beginning of the race. The safety car forcing his hand and forcing him to go onto the hard compound. But we're back on board with Veloce Hyperz in the Toro Rosso. He's going to get a great run coming out of the final corner on the run down towards turn 1 side by side with the Haas of James Baldwin. Inside line for the Haas. Around the outside goes the young Hyperz, but he can't quite make that work just about. He's got the DRS open once again. Slipstream for the medium length run down towards turn 2. Not going to be close enough to mount an attack, and he'll have to hang on to that 3rd place position for the meantime. Doesn't really need to worry behind, though, at the moment. I would say Hyperz is safe in a podium, but as we've mentioned, he has to beat Formula Dani here if he wants to keep the championship alive. Ideally, he wants to beat Dani, and he wants someone else to beat Dani as well, too. That's what it's going to take in order to keep this championship alive. He really needs Dani to finish in 3rd or lower, and that does not look like it's going to happen at the moment, but we still have lots of laps of racing still to go.
Yeah, frustrating times for Hyperz. He's just desperate to get through on James there. Wow, that's Raggy getting a little bit close to the back of Isaac, who is showing as disconnected, so he should go straight through him, and indeed he does, and Raggy moves up into 11th place. But yeah, I think Hyperz is extremely frustrated. They're trying everything to get through, and James, he needs to get at Dani. He needs to put some sort of pressure on him, and he's unable to do it. Let's see if he can do it this time, though, as he lines up James coming out of that final corner. Can Hyperz get the slingshot he needs to pull alongside the world's fastest gamer and make it stick? He needs to make a move now if he's going to have any chance of catching Dani. His chances are already pretty limited, but this would be a start. He tries to go round the outside. James breaks late into the corner, but he's still there, Hyperz. Going round the outside, he's on the curb, I believe. They're going to go side by side. He should now have the inside line. Is he now up into 2nd place? It looks like it. James trying all he can, but he can try no more. And Hyperz is up into 2nd place, and he can start to hunt down the home favourite, who's on course at the minute for a 2nd successive crown. Lovely stuff from Hyperz. Bided his time and made it work, Justin.
Got the elbows out, and he needed to get the elbows out. It really seemed like James was not going to go quietly into the night. He was going to give it absolutely everything, but Hyperz with the softer tires, the older softer tires, though, it's worth mentioning. So potentially James Baldwin could become a threat later on. As these laps tick down, the mediums on Dani and Hyperz are going to get slower and slower, whereas those hards on the Haas of James Baldwin, those are going to maintain their speed pretty well. So relative to the mediums that are going to become faster and faster as this race goes on. We're now well past the halfway point. In fact, only 7 laps remain after this one is completed. So not a lot of racing still to go. So Hyperz, again, he did exactly what he needed to do. He got his elbows out. He kind of muscled his way through. Firm but fair from the young Toro Rosso driver. Now he's got an over 5-second gap to try and hunt down, and he's only got 7 laps to do it. He's going to need to find about 0.8 of a second per lap until the end of this race if he wants any hope of catching and overtaking Dani Hyperz.
Or hope he makes a mistake, and that is very rare from a man of the caliber of Dani Hyperz. Of course, his only non-score was in that first race, as Hyperz alluded to in the team radio at the start of this Grand Prix, when it was his wheel that failed him, not his own driving. So that just shows you how strong Dani Hyperz is, as he continues to lead out front. As we pick up now Tom at 97, running in 7th place, hunting down CRG Simon. He's in a Renault sandwich because he's got Thibaut Courtois behind in 8th, who's looking at a second successive point finish and his 3rd of the season if he can hold on to that 8th place. Doing a good job again as the Real Madrid goalkeeper, as we keep an eye on Tom, who's really fighting back brilliantly from that earlier contact. And we now shuffle back to the other Mercedes, Raggy, who's on the fringes of the points and looks to be perhaps reigniting this rivalry in the squad sprint between he and Hayden Gullis, as Isaac leaves again from the lobby, as we wait to see if Raggy can catch Hayden and reignite that battle, Justin, which has been so tasty all season long.
Oh, it has. It's definitely thrown up some fireworks for us in the past. At the moment, I have to say, Hayden's doing quite well. I've been kind of keeping my eye on that gap, and it really hasn't been coming down at the rate that I thought it might have. So Hayden doing very well out there, I have to say, as we come to the end of lap 11 to start lap number 12 for Hayden Gullis. Obviously, the leaders are already on lap 12. Hayden Gullis starting lap 12 number now. Oh, excuse me, lap 13 now. As we have a look a little bit further up the road. This is still outside the podium paying positions, though. That's CRG Simon with Tom 97 not that far behind, who is on softer and fresher tires compared to the Renault ahead of him. So Tom 97 looking very strong. Again, he's been having very good results recently, has Tom 97. He was my driver of the day somewhat recently for one of the races. Contender for driver of the day, as I mentioned previously. Don't forget to tell us your driver of the day down in the comments below, although you may want to hold off until the end of this race, because at the moment, there's a few different contenders, but we'll have to see how everything finishes out here at the Hungaro ring. But at the moment, Tom 97, is he catching Simon? Is he keeping up with Simon? Either way, I have to say it's very impressive stuff. Simon is an ultra quick esports driver, one of the best on this game. And Tom 97 is a YouTuber. He's a content creator. He's not an esports driver. And look at this. Look at the way he's closing down in this Renault. It is beautiful stuff.
Yeah, very, very, very impressed by Tom 97 throughout the season, and especially today. Another great performance as the rear end gets sliding there on the curb. He really is pushing hard to catch Simon and is now 9/10 back on the next lap. I'm pretty sure he will get that DRS chance to attack Simon. So things going well for Tom. Other notable mentions, Ryan Littlemore running in 4th place. That is an astounding effort from him in P4. And of course, we can't forget, coming all the way from the back of the grid to lead this, Dani Hyperz. So a lot of people to be contenders for driver of the day. We're always interested to hear what you guys think. Look at this, James Baldwin coming back now at Hyperz as those hard tyres become the better option over those mediums, as Hyperz now picks up a 3-second time penalty, cutting that corner a little too much. I've got to say, Justin, we've seen a lot of corner cutting today, but do you think that could be a factor because the F1 drivers have been playing the game a lot and they've been exploring track limits quite a bit, and it's maybe opened a few people's eyes? We've seen that, haven't we, in recent days? So maybe that could be a factor in it. So James Baldwin then trying to catch Hyperz, with that penalty for Hyperz. It's not looking good at all, when Dani Hyperz just needs to keep it on the island, and he should have the title in the bag. Let's see if James Baldwin is going to be close enough for a move on Hyperz coming out of that final corner. It doesn't look like it, as we switch back to Tom, who is, Justin, now right within range of CRG Simon, isn't he?
Yep, he's going to be picking up the DRS here, no doubt about it, on the start-finish straight. I don't think he's going to be close enough to think about a move into turn 1, but he could potentially set himself up for an overtake into turn 2. He is using a fairly high ERS deployment mode, some high fuel mix before getting into the braking zone, turning everything down, and then he'll be bumping it back up as the DRS opens once again. A couple of car lengths between the two of them as they descend down towards turn 2. Let's see if he can get close enough. Nope, he's going to remain a couple of car lengths back, but he is absolutely within striking distance now. He could be thinking about an overtake possibly into turn 1. Not a lot of overtaking locations remaining in this lap. Turns 1 and 2 are going to be the primary locations, the most attractive locations to try and think about an overtake. Running a bit wide there at the exit of turn 4, but that's the least of the offenses that we've seen when it comes to track limits so far. Speak of the devil, there's Tiamat Marduk just absolutely chopping off large chunks of a corner like I can't even think of something at the moment, but he is really taking big chunks out of those corners, let's be honest. It's kind of what he's known for, and he's just really pushing that stereotype at this point. Still on board with Tom 97. I think we might see an attempt here. He wasn't quite this close last lap. And I do wonder, actually, are they getting closer to Ben, despite Ben's best efforts to cut as much of the circuit as he can?
Yeah, it's an interesting interpretation of the racetrack from TMF Marek, but to be fair, I think that most of them out there are doing it. I think they are catching though, but I don't know if Simon's got DRS of the car in front. He's not. So here comes Tom 97 in that Mercedes. Is he going to go for a lunge up the inside? He thought about it, thought better of it, and remains in 7th place. He gets a second dose of that DRS in as he homes in towards turn 2. Is Simon defending the inside? Tom's going to try and go right round the outside. That would be absolutely incredible. That's the inside for the next corner. Oh, that was so close. Contact between them, and Simon holds on, but that was a valiant effort from Tom as we lose Arava from the Grand Prix again. Not for the first time this season. Arava retires and there'll be no points for him and his Ferrari today. But wow, that was a great effort from Tom. Unlucky not to make it work, Justin.
I think Arif prefers the DNFs when it comes to making a thumbnail for these episodes. He likes to have a nice flashy thumbnail, and you know, when you're missing a wheel on a car, that makes it very dramatic and it makes people very excited to want to watch that. But I have to say, oh, and there was the stricken Ferrari actually just between turns 11 and 12. Saw it on the left-hand side of the circuit. I think Tom had to take a little bit of avoiding action there, but nothing too major. It's not going to bring out the safety car, it seems. But yeah, Tom has done a good job to close up to Simon. Did a fantastic job trying to go around the outside at turn 2. I gotta say, he is really gunning for my vote for driver of the day as the way things stand right now. Here he's gonna have a second bite at the cherry. He's gonna get closer and closer and closer. Gets very close through the braking zone of turn 1. Not quite close enough to pull alongside. He gets a better exit this time. Let's see if he's going to try the exact same thing. He is forced to go around the outside as Simon defends the inside line. The Mercedes a little bit further alongside this time. Gets the better exit out of turn 2. Gets the inside line for turn 3. And he's up into 6th position. And he's ahead of the Esports driver, Simon Weigang. Oh, he's coming back at him. I thought he was going to try it up the inside into turn 4. But no. Tom 97 ahead of Simon Weigang. Great strategy calls from Tom from 16th. As well, he was all the way down in 16th position. So, what a drive! Incredible.
Yeah, another impressive drive from Tom.
Whoa!
Oh, you've got this starting back up again. Hello for episode number 15 of Hayden versus Raggy. I'm interested to see how that one pans out over the next lap and a half of this penultimate race, as Veloce Hyperz still has the advantage over James Baldwin on the racetrack. I'm not sure if that is the case though when it comes to time penalties. As we start the final lap of this race, Dani Hyperz is out front and heading for back-to-back squad sprint titles. I wonder what's going to happen there. I wonder if Tom can stay ahead of Simon. I wonder who's going to get that final point. Will it be Hayden or will it be Raggy? That's going to be one to watch. Don't go anywhere, folks. It's going to be an exciting final lap or so. Still Dani Hyperz leading from Hyperz and James Baldwin, and here is the race leader picking up a standing ovation from his home support all around the Hungaroring. He's going to go and make it back-to-back titles. Surely now, only a massive error can prevent that. Under control. He has been the man to beat all season. Apart from in that opening race, he was playing catch-up. But you've got to say the decisive moment came when Hyperz stuck it in the barrier in Baku. So Dani Hyperz enters that final sector in that Alfa Romeo. And he's only got a few corners to go now to make it a second title in a row. Dani Hyperz, 2 corners left. James Baldwin, interestingly, has got the fastest lap, so that won't go to Dani today. By the way, I don't think he'll care as Dani Hyperz rounds the final corner. It is Dani at the double. Back-to-back squad sprint championships for him. He wins it.
Ah, yes! I won it. I won the championship. Both SquadSprint seasons. 2 out of 2. I'm really happy with that.
Fantastic performance in the end. Justin, your thoughts on that?
Incredible stuff, and to do it at his home track as well is it's got to be something really special. But actually, before we go on to how amazing Dani Hyperz is, there will be lots of time to talk about that. We've got Raggy versus Hayden. Raggy defending the inside line through the final corner. Hayden going for that late apex. Wants to try and get him at the exit. He's not going to have enough of a run, and it is going to be Raggy that takes that final points-paying position. And their duel will have one more race to go.
Yeah, I think, did he get him on that final lap there? I think he might have, or did I miss that? I'm not too sure. Dani Hyperz then, champion, winner, and he did nick the fastest lap at the end there. Can you believe it? Dani Hyperz victorious. He is just relentless. He will not give up until he's won absolutely everything, including the fastest lap. In the end, it's Hyperz who comes home in second. A valiant effort in his championship efforts. James Baldwin, he was P3 in the end with Ryan Littlemore in fourth. What a stunning performance from Ryan Littlemore to come home fourth, by the way. Benjamin Daly, he was fifth with Tom Martinez in sixth. Simon Vigang came home seventh. Tom got him. Fantastic race between those two, it has to be said. Tom Storm Lartelo, he was eighth. Simon sandwiching the two Toms. Thibaut Courtois, another points finish for him. He'll be delighted with that in ninth. And Raggy beats Hayden in the end to that 10th place, which of course is such a crucial battle between the pair. Outside the top 10 then, as I mentioned, Hayden Gillis 11th. Alex Gillen, that pit stop strategy did not work. He was 12th. Niren came home 13th in an eventful race for him. Isaac 14th, plagued by connection issues. Karki 15th. Did not finish for Arava, Joe Wilkes, and did not start for Shembolik Bassi, James Doherty, and Liam Waddington.
And in the championship, here is the confirmation. Dani Hyperz takes the win. That is 38 points now between himself and Hyperz. Another 30 points between Hyperz and James Baldwin. So Hyperz is confirmed to be the runner-up for the second season of SquadSprint. And James Baldwin is confirmed as well as being in third position. And now there's only 12 points between Simon Vigang and Tiamat Marduk at the moment. So that is still very much on. But it is going to take a podium finish from one of those two in order to make that happen. Tom Martinez moves ahead of Shembolik Bassi and TRL Limitless. Moves himself up into sixth position with 59 points after a couple of DNSs for Gem and Limitless. Moves them down into 7th and 8th respectively. Storm in 9th position with 50 championship points, only 3 points ahead of Alex Gillen, who is just rounding out the top 10 with 47 points. Then it's a pretty sizable gap of 22 points down to Raggy in 11th position. He is 9 points, though, ahead of Hayden Gullis, so it's going to take a top 5 finish from Hayden Gullis if he wants to try and move ahead of Raggy in the championship. Ryan Littlemore, meanwhile, though, with that fantastic result today, moves himself up into 13th position with 13 points and ahead of that three-way tie between Joe Wilkes, Karki, and Arav in 14th, 15th, and 16th positions, respectively. Isaac in 17th position with a difficult race today with 6 championship points, 1 point ahead of Niren, and Thibaut Courtois picking up his 4th championship point here today. 4 championship points so far in this season for a guy that just plays football. Unbelievable what we've seen from Thibaut Courtois. He is ahead of Visa Liam in 20th position.
Yep, let's have a look then at the constructor standings, and it is Alfa Romeo confirmed as champions. It just gets better and better for the Alfa Romeo team. 267 points on the board with only 1 round to go. They cannot be caught by Haas or Toro Rosso, who sit second and third. Renault, they've still got an outside chance at runners-up, but it would be some performance to get there. It would need Courtois to maybe go and win a race. Who knows? They are in 4th. Red Bull sit 5th, quite a distance back with Ferrari in 6th. Mercedes, they're 7th in the standings, and then a long way back is Racing Point down in 8th. Still 26 points on the board, riding high from that opening race performance. Williams, they're 9th with 16, and McLaren round off the field with 5 World Championship points in 10th with 1 round to go. So Justin, we crowned a champion today, but is he your driver of the day?
I got to give it to Tom again. I can't believe it. I got to give it to Tom 97 HD. Unbelievable. The way that he battled with Simon Vigang was absolutely incredible. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch Tiamat Marduk in the end. Again, we mentioned that he recently spoke about that being his goal as it stands at the moment. Yep, no, it's not looking super likely. He would have to win the race for the final round, and he would have to have Ben not score any points or score 3 points or less in order to make that happen. So I don't think he's going to be taking that 5th place in the championship, but the way that he took 6th in the championship has earned him driver of the day in my eyes.
Okay, well, once again, Justin, I'm going to disagree. It's an interesting one. You look at it, Tom, certainly a big contender for me. What a performance, though, from Ryan Littlemore in 4th. Right? Wow, where did that come from? Great effort from him. But today, we've not done it for a while. We've not given it to an esports driver. And I think today I'm going to go for Dani Hyperz. Now, he started last, won the race, won the fastest lap, and then went on to win the title on his home circuit. So he, for me, gets my driver of the day vote. But of course, folks, as always, it's not about what we think, it's about what you guys think in the comment section. So let us know who your driver of the day was today. And you know what? Give us some ideas. How do we nerf the speed of the esports drivers for series going forward? We're interested to hear your ideas on that one as well, because Dani is just so quick. But anyway, one round to go now, Justin. It's been an exciting season. We head to Germany for the final round. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh, it's going to be a blast. We may not have a battle on our hands for the lead anymore, or indeed for the top three. All three, Dani, Hyperz, and James, all confirmed as 1, 2, 3 in the championship. But still, plenty to play for. It's going to be a good one.
It sure is. Be sure to join us again next week for the final round of the Veloce Esports Squad Sprint. Dani is champion. No one can stop him. Goodbye.